Talk Shoes. Recorded live.
Hello, Kat Miller. It is Tuesday, August 23rd, 2011, and I am here speaking with our shaman, Dane Kirby. Welcome, Dane.
Thank you, dear.
Tell us a little bit more about a shaman, if you will.
Okay, let's see. Well, in my case, I can't sing even in the shower. My shamanic abilities don't seem to have changed that. So I have found that there are certain limits. Shaman brings fun back into people's lives. They get to the point of they live life just trudging along. Okay, well, I got up yesterday and did A, B, C, D. Well, you know, that worked. I'll do it again today. A, B, C, D. And then tomorrow, A, B, C, D. And then suddenly it's like, well, you know, I'm busy, this. Okay, A, B, C. And people's lives get more delineated. And they start losing that spark, losing that drive, that fun, that glimmer. And that's when they come see me. They're like, I've lost something and I just don't know where I put it. Or, you know, something's changed and I'm just not sure what it is. And it's amazing how many times it is that they got into the rut. Whether it was of their own making, well, it's always of our own making, but a lot of times it takes something to happen to cause us to do A, B, C, D. And then it's not that hard to just keep shrinking it down. So they come to me or someone like me because they're looking, they're searching. They know that they've misplaced something or they forgot how to do something, and they just need somebody to reconnect them. And that's what a shaman's great at.
Awesome. Reconnecting. Get your energy back. Get your livelihood, your liveliness, your aliveness back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Before we started recording, we talked briefly about spirituality, spiritual healing, and energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you personally have a lot of thoughts about the differences? What are the differences? What's the same? Do you have any thoughts on those?
So we're talking, well, like we had said earlier, it's kind of like all cognacs are brandies, but not all brandies are cognacs. I used to have a debate with my master about grace and love. He said they were both the same thing. They were just different usages of the same thing. That love flowed. My statement was that grace and love were not necessarily related, actually. That one could flow from grace, as in love could flow from it. But just because you had love did not mean you were in a state of grace. And this was an ongoing, well, sometimes heated argument between us, where we would have the debate of, I said, you can love somebody to death, but you can't grace them to death. And I see them as very different things. And as you said earlier about energy healing or spiritual healing, one can encompass the other, but the other doesn't necessarily encompass the first. And truthfully, I agree with you with what I've seen out in the world. Yeah, I'll go with that. Because to me, it's similar to the whole grace and love question. That they are different. So, and go ahead and tell everybody what you had said that got us started on that.
Yeah. Well, what I see is that spiritual healing is reaching out to a higher energy for healing, whether it's God or one of several different gods, as some people believe in multiple deities, whether it is angelic healing or something like that. It's reaching out to a higher source and requesting healing through a higher source. And to me, spiritual healing is always about that. Energy healing is about balancing the energy in the body, associated with the body, around the body, on all levels. And so energy healing, to me, would encompass spiritual healing, because spiritual healing is about balancing the body, the energy of the body, but utilizing specific techniques like, the technique of connecting with Source, connecting with God, connecting with angels, connecting with prayer, something like that, something where you are putting it out there to a higher source to do the healing. And absolutely, that's part of what could be considered energy healing. However, energy healing to me is open up to so much more. Like, I work with the emotional freedom technique, which involves working with affirmations that encompass whatever it is that's going on that's making you uncomfortable, that is causing the dis-ease in your body or your emotional dis-ease, and tapping on energy meridians while you're saying these positive affirmations to help release any energy blocks along those energy meridians. I also work with total body modification, which also does the same sort of stuff. It's actually, you find a weakness in the body associated with an organ or a system or something by touching a particular spot and getting a weak muscle, and then you tap, most often, specific places along the bladder meridian to release those blocks and get that communication up. And so that's another type of energy healing. And Reiki is yet another type of energy healing. And Reiki is perhaps more of a spiritual type of energy healing, because you are connecting into a healing source with Reiki. But it's an energy healing. And so you would be able to call any spiritual healing an energy healing, but you cannot necessarily call every energy healing a spiritual healing.
So would you say, I guess I'm looking to see if this would actually tie in then with the brandy and cognac thing. Does one to you encompass the other? Do you know what I mean? Okay. So which way do you see it?
Healing,
Which one?
The way I see it, energy healing encompasses the spiritual healing.
Okay.
But the spiritual healing doesn't encompass energy healing.
Okay.
It is a specific area. It's a specific brand of energy healing.
Okay. Interesting. I from my Reiki history and the way my master had taught it to me, that when it was founded, the founder went to the poor camps, one of the big poor camps, I'm not sure where in Japan, and he was using this newfound energy that he had, this direct access to the energy of the universe, to heal people. But he noticed after a few years that he was seeing people he had seen before again and again and again, and it wasn't making sense to him. And he was like, well, why? What's going on here with you? Why are you back? And they're like, well, yeah, you fixed me and you cleaned me up and it was great, but I went out in the world and it's too hard for me. I like this better. So, he was able to clean them up and fix them perfectly. But it came down to their own inner spirit was lacking, their own inner drive. Now, I know at the time I encountered Reiki, I was in a position where it was always nighttime for me at that time. And as I felt that energy just pour in, that warm cosmic honey, as we used to describe it, it started filling in the cracks. And in my case, it reignited the spirit that I always used to use, but that I had unfortunately turned off. And again, nobody can turn your spirit off but yourself, okay? So I had done that, let's be honest about it here. But it reignited that spirit within. So, I can see where it can, the energy work can reignite the spirit. I have to admit, I do know a few people that would make the argument that as their spirit got cleaned up, so did the rest of them. That they would say it goes both ways no matter what. But then we get back to the whole grace and love. Mm-hmm. Is it semantics, or is it, if that's a person's personal experience, then that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
spiritual healing is a subclass of
mm-hmm.
energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, it is a type of energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not open to all of the different types of energy healing, whereas
mm-hmm.
energy healing encompasses the spiritual healing,
mm-hmm.
but a lot more. It opens you up to so many other things. You can mm-hmm. look at what is it that I'm holding on to from the past that is creating this problem. And then you can use the energy healing to help mm-hmm. release that and let go of it. Mm-hmm. Spiritual healing, at least from my perspective, tends mm-hmm. to be just a blanket, let it go, a blanket. We're connecting you with spirit and working on letting you heal. And mm-hmm. if it is meant to be mm-hmm. that you are to get better, you will. Mm-hmm. And if it is meant to be, if God does not want you to get better, mm-hmm. or the higher energy sources mm-hmm. don't want you to heal, you will not heal. Mm-hmm. And so go ahead.
Would you perceive the energy then as being more of a direct act, whereas spiritual is more a case of, okay, universe, let's see what you got.
Yeah,
waiting for me. But whereas, like you've seen it with me in action, I get my hands on something, mm-hmm. it's going to change. There is no doubt about it in any shape, form, or fashion. Things change. But I'm going to have fun tonight. I get to play the spoiler. This is great. Thank you for being my foil here. Knowing that I know this and that anybody I get my hands on, they know it as soon as my hands get in contact with them. Things are changing. That's the way it is, period. Now, is that just a thing, though, where you can say, oh, well, the universe brought Dane into the equation because he's going to take an active role in it, and it's going to change this person. Mm-hmm. So is that the God's will thing? See what I mean?
Yes.
But with the energy, though, knowing that it's more of a much more direct act upon with another human being, it's, from our way of seeing things, being that we're physical beings, it is a direct intercession. Mm-hmm. Whereas spiritual healing doesn't tend, I would even say in most of my experience, doesn't necessarily work quite like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, spiritual healing, isn't that more of a, I ask you to forgive me everything and heal me, mm-hmm. make me better? Mm-hmm. Energy healing brings in an awareness of your part in mm-hmm. your illness. Mm-hmm. You and you alone are responsible for your health and wellness mm-hmm. or your illness and disease. Mm-hmm. It is your mindset. Mm-hmm. It is your focus. Mm-hmm. It is where you have taken everything that is, that mm-hmm. has been, and the way you've interpreted it and what you have done with it, and mm-hmm. the way you experience life. I am not saying you made yourself blind and now you have to suffer and always be blind.
Mm-hmm.
What I am saying is everything that has come to you, you have interpreted, you have filtered,
Mm-hmm.
and you have reacted to. And in
Mm-hmm.
your reactions and in the way you have dealt with every experience that has come to you, you have come to the place where you are right now in your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad.
Just is.
But I'm saying, yes, exactly. And it is in your judgment
Mm-hmm.
that it is bad that you
Mm-hmm.
suffer. When you judge that something is wrong, that
Mm-hmm.
something is bad, that something is not as it should be, you suffer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It is perfectly normal for some people to be exactly where they are, even though it seems to be a harsh place.
Mm-hmm.
In acceptance of exactly where you are, you can begin to progress. And actually, accepting it does not mean, okay, I have to live with it.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I am in a space where I am experiencing something that other people may never experience.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace it. I'll never forget reading something on one of the Emotional Freedom Techniques forums where a gentleman had suffered migraines several times a week, basically his whole life. And he started to use EFT. Everything else had failed him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he started to use EFT, he got it to a point where he was only having 1 or 2 migraines a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then it slowed down to maybe once or twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
But he was still getting these migraines. And he was frustrated. Why can't I've been able to get them to go down, but why can't I get rid of them? I don't want to have migraines. And all of a sudden, one day, he had an aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
And he loved it.
Mm-hmm.
When he got a migraine, he thanked his body. He appreciated it for whatever it was. It was trying to tell him that he was looking at and not appreciating.
Mm-hmm.
And he stopped having those headaches because he embraced it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there is something you are trying to tell me about my focus, and I want to know what is it that I'm focused on that is bringing me to this space over and over again. And I got to tell you, migraines come from liver. Liver is where you swallow your anger.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting migraines, you're focused on anger.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. I totally agree with you on that one because I've lived that myself. And there came that day I said, well, this just is silly. And the day I let that go, there were no more migraines. I have not seen a migraine in, well, going on 18 years now. And I used to have them every day from the age of 5 on. So, yeah, interesting. I like that. Now, here's one. What is it about adversity that forges such a wonderful spirit in people? But if they let the adversity get to them and they cease to forge their spirit in this beautifully supplied universal fire, which if people are deep in it, they're like, man, Dane, you're an ass. What's beautiful about it? I'm getting crushed here. You're getting crushed because you're not allowing yourself to change and be forged. Easy answer. It's easy for me to say, but remember, folks, I've been through many fires. So it forges a beautiful spirit for you. Yet, at the same time, when we've worked together, you've seen it where there's times that I would be talking, well, as I was half here, half there. And it would be, the energy would go in from the energy work when I could tell their spirit was ready. because there could be too much forging going on, too much energy coming in, and the person's totally run down. They have no chance of getting out of the way of this train because they don't have the training, they don't have the whatever. And the universe caught them with their pants down, or finally said, well, this is it. It's either going to be yes or no. What are you going to do? And that's another one where someone like myself or someone like you, because I still maintain that you do operate shamanically. Yeah, there you go. It's not an insult either. But it comes down to, and that tends to be the way it works for myself personally, is I will do the massive energy work, and I can do that at any level we care to go to. But a lot of times I also know that I have to adjust it so that their spirit can handle what's happening. And the energy I use is adjusting everything so that their spirit can become what it is meant to be. And it's not meant to be crushed like a bug. It's meant to grow and turn into something of great beauty. A lot of times these universal ass whippings are nothing more than like an enforced cocoon, kind of, if you will, so that you come out this beautiful butterfly. But that takes energy and spirit. And a lot of times the energy can comfort the spirit so that it can change. It can act as the beautiful buffer for the spirit. So how do you like that, going along with energy work encompasses spirit, but spirit work doesn't necessarily encompass energy?
Exactly. All about focus.
Mm-hmm.
All about focus. Is this wall a challenge or is it a block?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's how you focus on it, what it is that you see,
mm-hmm.
that either engages or dissuades.
Mm-hmm.
If the wall is a challenge, you are looking for a way to achieve something, and the human spirit loves to achieve. It
mm-hmm.
loves the challenge because it loves a victory. And so when you look at something as a challenge and you engage that part of you that really wants to achieve. If you look at it as an impasse,
mm-hmm.
as a blockage,
mm-hmm.
you give up.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
So it's really all about, how are you going to look at it?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to deal with what it is that you see in front of you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if you deal with it as an impasse and you see it's a block and you can't go anywhere, then you just lie down.
Mm-hmm.
You let it be.
And it tends to fall on you then too.
So just you choose. You choose the focus. You choose what it is that you want. Well, and there's nothing more fulfilling than saying, I accomplished this. I did that. I
mm-hmm.
found the way,
mm-hmm.
or a
mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
there's nothing that's more debilitating
mm-hmm.
than saying, I just can't do anything. I have no control over it. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a total
mm-hmm.
impact.
Yeah.
So it's really all about, what is your focus? How are you looking at it?
Mm-hmm.
What is
yeah.
it that, because what will take one person to the top of the mountain
mm-hmm.
will make another person lie down and die.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, you know, this whole how you perceive things. Mm-hmm. I mean, as we're sitting here talking, I'm 49, and I've got my little 17-month-old cutie daughter that only, you know, my first and only kid, really, you know. And she's been doing the thing here for the last 3 months of, hi, I'm awake at 5:15 and I'm hungry. Well, I mean, I could play this game of, look, just shut up and go back to sleep. You're 16, 15, 17 months old, whatever. But that's not the way it works. The kid's truly hungry, and to her, that's pain. well, it goes against being the shaman that I am, the dad that I am, and the human that I am. There's no way the kid's going to be in pain. No, I'm not doing my job right then. So I hop up, and let my wife keep snoring, and I hop up because I'm like, wow, 5:15. I got a bottle for her, stick it in her face. We lay there, I'll sit there and rub her belly. We're having a great time. She's munching away on her bottle, and put her to bed. And something I started doing recently, and was to realize that, wow, this kid is teaching me how to be a better dad. Because what do I know about being a dad? Really, you think of it, even as a shaman at 49 years old, you've got a lot of ways you're set in, that you don't realize you're set in. And so I actually make a point every morning as we're talking, and I tell her, thank you for making me a better dad. Now, I could look at this like, oh, man, shut up, you whiny little snot, go to bed. Oh, please, really, you know what I mean? And you'll get fed at 7 like everybody else kind of attitude, or when I normally would get up, that kind of thing. Okay, I'm losing, if you want to say losing, 2 hours of sleep that I would normally get. I don't look at it as like losing it. I look at it like that gives me anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes with my daughter in just perfect silence that I would never have at any other time with her. I'll never get that back if I didn't do it. And if I had this crappy attitude of, oh, come on, you little ball and chain, here's your bottle. Come on, let's get this done. Let me put you back in bed. Look at what I would be missing. It would be an obstacle for me. It would be a weight, a burden. So it's all about perception. I don't care that I'm only getting 5 hours sleep a night. That's a non-issue for me. And it is a non-issue because of the exchange of love and energy I have gotten from her and myself and my attitude, and it has caused my spirit to grow because of this energy that I'm open to.
Yeah. Well,
so that's my long-winded way of saying exactly what you said earlier.
Well, that just took me to watching a gentleman one time talk about how he was abandoned by his wife. She left where he lived for Hawaii or something, abandoned him and his son. So he's having to be a single father for this child, and they weren't even gonna have kids yet, and she wound up pregnant, and she had this baby. And then when the child is 2 or 3 years old or something like that, she up and abandons him. And so what he was all focused on was that he was abandoned. That first of all, she, what do you call it? She breached their contract by getting pregnant when they had no intention of having a baby yet. So first of all, early in their marriage, she gets straddled with a child, and then she leaves him, and he's straddled with the child. This is his focus for the child.
To him, she stuck it in and broke it off, is what he sees.
Yeah. So this is his focus for 6, 7, 8 years, whatever, till the kid's 8, 9, 10 years old, something like this. His focus is, I was abandoned, and she broke our contract, and I have to deal with his son all by myself. His focus was not on, I am a father. This is my son. I love my son. I want to be everything that I can for my son. No, his focus was on what was wrong, what somebody had done to him, how somebody had done him in, and it was all about that it was their fault he was having to deal with this child, and the child was on the end of the resentment instead of on the end of Daddy's love. And there was an aha moment where he suddenly realized, oh, I love my son. I want to give my son the best. I have been so focused on what was done wrong to me that I have been doing wrong to him. Well, I have not been giving him everything I could give him. Doesn't necessarily mean he was wronging him. He was just in an energy space where he was not able to give that child the things that he so badly wanted to. And suddenly that aha moment just opened him up to where he suddenly became the kind of father he always thought he would be. and I got to do this. When you started talking about what your little girl has done to you and making you a better dad and all of that stuff, it took me to my Mother's Day gift in May of 2010.
Yeah.
May 9th, 2010 was Mother's Day. And what I did on Mother's Day is I gave gifts to my mother, my husband, and my children. And they are poems that I wrote to them. And I wanted to read this one that is to my children. It says, to my children on Mother's Day, May 9th, 2010. When I became a mother, you were there. As I watched my children grow, you were there. Through all the growth and learning, you were there. You taught me how to be a mother. You taught me how a mother feels. You taught me how a mother loves. As you grew and learned and built, I learned much more. As you felt hurt and pain, I felt them more. As you felt great pride in what you did, I felt it even more. You grew, you learned, you became adults. I was there. You learned to work, to play, to mix the two. I was there. You built your world of wonder, love, and passion. I was there. You opened your homes. You let me in. You opened your hearts. You let me in. You gave me grandchildren to love and spoil. You roll your eyes, hold your tongue, and allow all the love and spoil. In the end, there's a sigh, a smile, more love and spoil. A mother could not ask for a better lot. My children, their children, there is no better lot. I could go on, but I better not. This Mother's Day, there's just one more thing to say. Thank you, my love, for enriching my life, my world, my day. Now, doesn't that just encompass what you were talking about, how you feel with your daughter? I just love that. Every once in a while I have to do something really obnoxiously different on a day like Mother's Day. Like there was one year when my kids had planned to make crepes, strawberry crepes for Mother's Day for breakfast in bed for me. And I couldn't stay in bed. You know, I usually get up at 6 or 7 o'clock at the latest. And it's 6 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock, it's 8 o'clock. I can't stay in bed. The kids are still not up. I can't do it. It's 9 o'clock, 9:30. Okay, that's it. I can't handle this. So I got up, I went downstairs, and I started to make the strawberry crepes. And then the kids heard me in the kitchen, and they tried to get up. And I told my husband, you keep them in their rooms, you keep them in bed. They're not to come down here. And and when I finished, I took and presented them breakfast in bed. It's like, I'm not mad at you. No, I know what you intended and everything. But, hey, I have a right to serve you guys breakfast in bed on Mother's Day, so here you go.
That's it. Because it's Mother's Day. What do you want to do, you know?
Yeah.
That's it.
And so I kind of do things backwards sometimes, and that was one of my backwards days again, that I wrote those poems. It was awesome to do that.
You know, and, you know, speaking of the Mother's Day, it's got me thinking about how, as people, every day is our day as a human being. Any of you, any person out there, every single day is your day. And if your spirit is willing and your spirit is moving, the energy will come to you to give you that day that you believe in. If you've got all the energy to go do something, you find out it shapes your spirit to keep you on the right path, to keep you going so that you have your day. But every day that you stay focused on that, and now we're getting back to that definitiveness of purpose, which, yes, I know it's improper English, but I like that phrase, so we're sticking with it. It goes back to what we had talked about with that. As long as you maintain a definite purpose in your life, or that moment in time and continue it on, the energy comes through for you. Your spirit becomes stronger so that it can move more energy. So there's another energy and spirit relation that they can be interdependent. They don't have to be. But I have discovered that the stronger your spirit, you can definitely move a lot more energy. And I know very, very few people. Well, let me correct myself. I can't say I know anybody that can do massive amounts of energy work that has a weak spirit. It just doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people that are incredibly mellow, and people might confuse that with, oh, yeah, they're just so laid back, they're not driven, they're not this. Believe me, they got a spirit made out of steel. It just doesn't show that way.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't show like an alpha, like people think, oh, look at this guy go, he's got some spirit. No, he's just charging into walls over and over and over.
Okay, charging into walls. You just made me see my one grandson when he first started walking. He put a blanket over his head, and he'd run full speed. And he'd run into gates, he'd run into walls. You never knew what he was going to run into now.
Mm-hmm.
He had this thing about blanket over the head and running full speed.
Oh, Lord. Well, I guess he was getting ready for life in the corporations, but yeah, that's good. And it's all about what do you want, since it is your day. Every day you wake up is your day. You can grow your spirit and make it stronger, or you can be working with that energy and growing it. But you're going to find out they both work together quite nicely. And that energy does enhance that spirit. If you feel like you're just getting your butt kicked and you're feeling like you're wearing down, you're getting kind of broken, there's all kinds of free things out there if you don't have any money to relax. Whether it's go sit in a park that you've never even done in your life, go to a museum and look at some of the masters' works. It doesn't matter to me if it's modern or ancient. Okay, we still have masters in this modern day. Go enjoy something that eases your burden, that eases your spirit, so that your energy does flow, because your energy flows to protect your spirit and to forge it.
I have a little something that people may want to do just to kind of really see how much you are affected by the things around you. You talked about going to a museum and taking in the beauty of art and whatever else. But here's a cute little thing that you can do that can really show you just how much you are affected by the things you see. Take and draw a smiley on a piece of paper. Look at that smiley, and then do muscle testing. Have somebody try to put your arm down while you're looking at the smiley. And you'll see that there's a definite strength there in looking at just a little smiley. Now, take and draw a frowning face and do the muscle testing again. See how you are affected by seeing a frown. Negative energy in the frown. It does make a huge difference. If we can, you will see a huge difference between looking at that smiley and looking at that frown.
Yep.
You are substantially affected by the things you see. So when you see beauty, drink it in.
I had a question here a while back, and when we were talking about, I had told people, look, smile at yourself in a mirror. And even though it can be tough on you when you first start, just go for it. Even if you look away and you got yourself smiling and then look at yourself in the mirror, even if you can't do it for but just a couple seconds, just go for it. And you'll get used to it, and you'll find out that turns out to be your relaxation state, that smile, that inner smile, bringing it about. And they said that they just, when they tried to smile at themselves in the mirror, and the operative word was try, of course, all they could see was the sadness in their eyes. And I told them something very similar to what you just described. I said, look at something that has you smiling. And as you feel that smile build, put your hands lightly over your eyes, turn and look at the mirror, and then take your hands off and open your eyes. And even if that smile still continues just for a couple seconds, you'll notice it's now made it to your eyes. And I like what you've done there. I'm going to actually get a hold of them and describe what you just said, because that's actually simpler and in some ways I feel more effective than what I told them.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Thought.
I like that.
I have another thought, too. You're talking about the mirror. Sometimes it's just really difficult to get in front of a mirror. Like, where do you have mirrors in your house? You have them in the bathroom. Maybe that's the only place. Maybe you have them in the bedroom, too. But
well,
very,
now when I say mirror, you got to understand, though, any reflective surface I use for different purposes. So, that's interesting because to me, I see mirrors all around me everywhere. But I guess most people don't see that way. So, see, there it is. It's a condition of, because of who I am and how I perceive the world, to me there are mirrors and reflectives everywhere.
Yes,
but to most people, there's just one or two mirrors in their house. You know what I mean? So, good point.
What I am thinking, so many people, almost everybody, especially if you have laptops that are 2-3 years old or younger, they have a webcam on them. You're on your computer a lot. What if you just turned on your webcam and kept your picture, you working on your computer, on the screen?
I like that.
Look at yourself there. That is, in essence, a mirror. And it's there for you to look at.
Like that.
So even though you don't feel like you have the time to go stand in the bathroom and look in the mirror, or go stand in your bedroom and look in the mirror, or wherever you have a mirror in your house, you have a mirror on your computer. Try that.
Like that. That's good. That's excellent. I like that. Well, folks, go out there and do that. Kat's on the right idea here. Take a look in that mirror. Get out there. Have some fun with it. Find your reflection where you will. And I do like that about the laptop. Go for it. Use some of that modern technology in your favor, okay, instead of speeding your life up.
There you go.
Instead of feeling like you're always chasing something. Use it to work for you, not you for it. That's what it was originally meant for, Remember, we're in a paperless society now, don't you know? At least that's what they kept telling me 30 years ago when I built my first computer. So, I like that a lot. I think that's a nice way to end it tonight. Nice, activity. Have fun with it.
Mirror reflection.
Yeah. Good on you, Kat. I like that one.
Well, it's been an awesome podcast. I thank you, Dane, for taking the time to talk with me.
Always glad to. Love talking with you, darling. And that means everybody else out there, too. Love talking with every one of you.
Have a wonderful week, and we will talk with you next week.
Okay. See you, darling. See you, folks.
Bye.